Rojeki hoş. Slavurej TV gelenera. Günaydın. Herkese selamlar. Good morning and happy day to everyone. I'm going to give some explanation in English language. İran henek bir İngilizce fırsat dersi bugün. Bugün bazı İngilizce olarak sorulmuş sorulara İngilizce olarak yanıt vereceğiz hepinizin izniyle. Sağlıkla kalın şimdilik. Since we have announced United States of Kurdistan's government, lots of unnecessary questions asked. We will answer two of most important questions that we are faced with. First question is, we have been asked, is why we need United States of Kurdistan. It's very strange, very interesting in the way that we are Kurdish people and we are Kurdistan's owner, and it's been forcefully taken from us, occupied by barbaric states, and we are demanding now to have our homeland back, and we are asked, why do you need that? Well, first of all, we have to ask ourselves why we don't have United States of Kurdistan. Why Kurdistan has been divided and taken away from Kurdish people? Why every nation do have their own state and Kurds don't have it? This is, I think, the main question everybody should ask. And also we should ask ourselves as Kurdish people, why don't we have our land? Why we let these barbaric people to be master and owner and the occupier of our land for past century? Kurdistan is Kurdish land for thousands of years. Through history, Kurdistan has been occupied by many world power, but division came to Kurdish land after Arab Islamic army starts to occupy Kurdistan, and the brutality start with it. At 630, under the command of Caliph Omar, Kurdistan was occupied, and Kurdish cultural heritage was brutalized, and Kurdish nation forcefully was subjected to Islamization. Of course, if Kurdish people needed to choose to be Muslim, that would be their own decision. But what they have imposed on Kurdish people was brutal, barbaric, and forceful. And lots of the crimes committed against Kurdistan, but most important one, divided whole of Kurdish people. In names of Islam, Kurdish people were divided, and the tyranny was imposed on Kurdish nation, which never was witnessed by humankind until then. This is real and historical fact, whether some others will like it or not, whether we all will like it or not. This is the historical fact. What Caliph Omar's Arab Islamic army have done to the Kurdish people in name of Islam from 630 and on is million times worse than what ISIS, so-called Islamic State, have done on Kurdish land from 2010, 2011 until their power and so-called IS state or caliphate was destroyed by heroic Kurdish army with the help of United States of America. Which the fight still is going on, that barbaric ideology is still active over Kurdish land. In fact, this barbaric ideology threat to whole of the civilization in the world. Kurdish kingdoms have made allies partnership agreement at 1514 with the Ottoman sultans, which leads the rise of Ottoman and Islam, but yet the other distraction to Kurdishness started then as well. what was left a bit of Kurdishness after Islamization, and that was demolished with Kurdish kingdoms making agreement with Ottoman sultans at 1540. During First World War, Ottoman was destroyed by English and French-led military coalition. So Kurdistan wiped out of the world map as well with that decision of occupier of Middle East. New states were created on Kurdish land, and Kurdish nation left without any protection, any legal protection, in fact, without any moral protection as well by the occupiers who divided Kurdistan and those who became new master of Kurdish land. Turkey in particular, Iran, Iraq, and Syria in general imposed systematic genocide on Kurdish people under the rudder and help of English and France. That is start after First World War. This is going on for past 100 years with the help of nation states of Western world. This historic reason and current facts are well documented by historians, international institutions, including United Nations. These facts are well documented and well known to all the countries in the world, and of course by the United Nations as well. This occupation and brutality imposed on Kurdish nation since the end of the First World War fully support with the fully support of Western state nations still going on for Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and Syria against the Kurds. If these states like British and France who occupied and divided Kurdistan, if would act with responsibility, and that wouldn't be possible for Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and Syria to brutalize and subject Kurdish nation to genocide. Last 2 decades, Russia also supporting Iran, Syria, and Turkey against the Kurds. Whatever their reason or aim, you can think about it, but we know they have only the reason of self-interest. United States of America's policy is changing for full support of Kurdistan's occupiers. United States of America, thankfully, they are changing their policy against the Kurds. So they are not really allowing themselves to be part of brutality imposed on Kurdish nation by the occupiers. That is for us is good news. Fundamentally wrong for nation states to support barbaric occupier of Kurdistan. Any Kurdish resistance crashed by these occupiers and their collaborators in the Western world. Mr. Öcalan was kidnapped and handed over to fascist state of Turkey by Western states. I myself kidnapped and held hostage by the Kingdom of the Netherlands. The small example and proof of Western states, state nations of support for Kurdistan's occupiers for only self-interest. This dilemma is very much similar to the situation of Jewish people. They were brutalized and faced with barbaric act of genocide, exactly same as Kurdish nation found themselves in. Still not clear to me that why Jewish faith, Jewish people were treated with such cruelty. Eventually they were act very smart and successfully achieved to establish little but great state of Israel after Second World War. Now they are living in safety in their own homeland. Good for them, and thanks to the United States of America for helping them in the way they have done until they are doing it now. So what was the reason that Jewish people were subjected to such brutality? Still is not clear to me, because Israel is not very rich land, and so most of it was a desert, and there were more than enough land for Arabs in the region. And what was their really reason to be so scared of the Jewish people? However, the dilemma ends for the Jewish people. So the point in this case is, without independent state of Israel, Jewish people wouldn't survive. I think this is a very good example for Kurdish people and whole world to see what is needed for any nation to be safe and live in peace and harmony. Therefore, we Kurds have to take Israel case as example for ourselves. For last century, Kurds are faced with barbaric occupiers' brutality and systematic genocide imposed on Kurdish nation. Still today, Kurdish language is forbidden in Turkey by Turkey's constitutional law. Kurds are murdered on their own soil because of speaking their own language. Occupier of Kurdistan systematically criminalizing Kurds with help of their Western states and, for past 2 decades, Russia. Thanks to goodness that these state citizens are not in the same line of their state rules or state policies. Good people of nation states are agree with Kurds that they must have their own independent and sovereign states. For Kurdish nation to be safe and live in peace, harmony, and the prosperity. For this all, we need United States of Kurdistan and whole the world citizen agreed with this demand and need of Kurdish nation. This also needs to be achieved for peace and stability in all around the Middle East and beyond. For barbaric occupier of Kurdistan and others are supporting them for continuation of their barbaric act, only the reason to steal Kurdish people's wealth. So there is no clear reason for me why they were targeting Israel's people, Jewish people, but for Kurdish people to be targeted by these barbaric occupiers and their collaborators, only the reason is to steal Kurdish people's wealth. That's what they are doing. There is no other reason for occupation of Kurdistan and cruel treatment of Kurds. This is going on to this is going to be end with the establishment of United States of Kurdistan. This short explanation is the answer of first question and the reason why we need the United States of Kurdistan. Since the World War is only the time which is Israeli and Jewish people start to have a peace in their lives. And the time for Kurdish people to have a peace, stability, and normal life on their own land. And that's why we need the United States of Kurdistan. Second question is, if we have been, the second question we have been asked is if we will be able to achieve and if it will be possible to establish United States of Kurdistan. Well, my simple answer is, for this question, we do have all materials, tools, and legal rights to establish United States of Kurdistan successfully. Furthermore, Kurds have been thousands of years coming from glorious history of their own. The Kurds have been majestic force of helping the others to establish and protect states. Toward the history, Kurdish people have been really, with the facts on the historian books telling us, majestic power of establishing and protecting other states. Recently, rise of barbaric Islamic State or ISIS was stopped and destroyed again with heroic and majestic act of Kurdish military power. Despite cheap games of Erdogan of Turkey, his collaborators, with the help of the United States of America, Kurds successfully achieved this end. However, this threat is not ended, that's something else. But they swept out of the official or maybe systematic power of statehoodness. Why same Kurds should have any question to establish United States of Kurdistan successfully for themselves? This is also the question need to be asked. We do have all the tools, we do have all the legal reason, and we do have glorious Kurdish history with the proof of being majestic power of winning all of the barbaric wars. And they are the master of winning the Islamic States. Recently was really forceful threat to the peace and stability around the world. Why would they not be able to create their own state? Why they would not be able to bring it, Kurdistan, together? We know Erdogan of Turkey was the one who created IS, and Erdogan is today a real leader of Islamist extremism. He is an Islamist fundamentalist terrorist. This is who he is. Every and each state and United Nations institution are well aware of these facts about Erdogan and all the citizens in Turkey. They are also very clear of his attention, and this is what he's doing. His aim, Rabia, he's always showing with his 4 fingers to Islamizate whole of the world. That's what he's trying to do. He's crazy, he's stupid, he's undoable, but that's what he's working for, whether you like it or not. From Istanbul to Tripoli, that's what he's busy with it to do it, and he's acting in many countries of America, and in fact, his activities with different names, but for same ideology is going on in Western Europe as well. But for vested interests and cowardness, many of these informations are covered by the same states which this policy is threat for their coexistence. The European Union in particular, they are well aware of this Erdogan's policy. United Nations is very well aware of this policy. For the vested mean for self-interest, and for cowardness, they are not admitting it and not doing anything against it. And I believe in this way, when they realize they try to act against it, it will be too late for them. But we, as the Kurdish people, we're not going to wait, and we're not scared and afraid of any power in the world, of course, Erdogan and his Islamizations as well. So everyone to know this. However, the situation is, we are well aware of it. We know the situation and we know what we have to do, and the United States of Kurdistan is a doable task for us Kurdish people. Kurdistan belongs to estimated 50 million Kurds. We have our own language, we are a nation, we have national anthem, national flag, United States of Kurdistan's map, which you can find the whole information about it on uskgov.com. We do have clear historic borders, very rich natural resources, which is very highly available. This valuable wealth is good material also for Kurdish people, and together with heroic the warrior nation, soldiers, United States of Kurdistan establishment, of course, will be doable. With the full ally partnership of friendly states, as the first Israel and the United States of America, of course, with cooperation of other states based on neutral interests, will be also the United States of Kurdistan's government's policy. Establishment of United States of Kurdistan is only the answer of Kurdish question and the well-being of Kurdish peoples. Also, this is very much needs of Israel's safety and coexistence of statehoodness as well. Israel state and her citizens will be safe forever with full partnership with the United States of Kurdistan. Threat of Islamist extremism will end it also with the establishment of United States of Kurdistan. Until United States of Kurdistan is not established, Islamist extremism will be threat over the head of civilization. We believe in United States of Kurdistan's establishment. That is why we announced the United States of Government at 24 of July 2018 in Lausanne city of Switzerland. We have completed our preparation to submit our request to United Nations for United States of Kurdistan's recognition. We have prepared also United States of Kurdistan's ID, passport, and currency. Also, we are preparing the United States of Kurdistan's constitution, which is most part of it has been completed. United States of Kurdistan will be inclusive, civilized, full respect and recognize minorities' rights, everyone's human rights, animal rights, and protection for environment and historical heritage sites, which is badly damaged by the barbaric occupiers. Whole world are watching it, this is happening. Whole world are watching it, the Kurdistan's occupier brutalizing Kurds and imposing forceful genocide on them, destroying the environment and historical heritage, and nobody doing anything against it. Everyone tries to make a deal with Erdogan, with Iran, with Syria, with Iraq for their own interest, and very serious crimes committed against Kurds by those powers doesn't matter to those who they are behind their vested interest. Well, that's also another reason for Kurdish people to stand and act for themselves. We are ready to go, and we invite civilized nations to celebrate this decision with us. Yes, we are ready to go, and we invite civilized nations to celebrate this decision of us with us, and we will be successful. We will achieve to establish United States of Kurdistan. There is no question in mind for us and the Kurdish nation that will be possible or not. Of course it will be possible, and this is the way it's going to be. I also wish to remind everyone that establishment of Israel is a very good example for us Kurdish people. And there is another the state has been established recently. For example, East Timor, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Kosovo, and many other states newly established. Why the United States of Kurdistan shouldn't be? Everybody should ask themselves. Kurdish people are estimated about 50 million nation. East Timor, everyone knows, is around a million. Kosovo, less than that. Bosnia-Herzegovina, less than a million. So Kosovo also less than a million population. Why Kurdish people with 50 million population should not have their own state? Why they should not be able to establish their own state? Turkish, Iranians, Iraqis, and Syrians will be the parties to make most benefit from establishment of United States of Kurdistan. These facts also need to be recognized. They do have enough land of their own. They can live good and safe in their own land, and be good neighbors with Kurds will be the best for them. If they cannot really manage their own land properly, why they occupying Kurdish land and dying for that and murdering Kurdish people as well? This needs to be ended. This all will end it with the establishment of United States of Kurdistan. We are ready to kick them all out of our homeland anyway if they don't get out. Preferable to us if they get out of our homeland without less bloodshed. Without bloodshed, sorry. If they get out with less bloodshed, that will be something, but they can get out of our land and leave it to us to live like they are living on our homeland without bloodshed. They can do it if they want to. If they don't want to do it, we will kick them out anyway. I have to say this again. This is absolutely up to them. United States of Kurdistan, the National Army will be fully equipped, will be effective, will be forceful to protect the Kurdish people, and they will be really, really sharp on Kurdish enemies. And United States of Kurdistan's army will be the force of peace and stability in the Middle East. Of course, together with our brothers and sisters of Israeli people. Of course, the occupiers of Kurdistan and their collaborators will continue to play their cheap games, to continue to suck Kurdish people's blood. This is not really is something for those immoral people to realize and be good as we expect them to be. Most of them have multiple faces. They don't have any moral, we know that. We are well aware of that. However, for good people in those nation states to know that our time to have our own state for our own nation's good and for stability in the region. Kurdish nation have to learn very well about our history and historical values and what Kurdish people have done in the past, and who are the Kurdish people and what the Kurdish people have done and what the others has done to the Kurdish people. And we have to look at today's world's reality. And we have to act very smart, fearless, constructive, and effective, while we're going to be very busy by establishing United States of Kurdistan. But we must work for Kurdistan and for good of Kurdish people. United States of Kurdistan's project is the base of Kurdish nation's unity and independence. This has to be heard and understood very well. I am honored with pleasure to inform you about what I have just explained to you. Thank you.